going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, and this is WWE Last Week, your weekly look back at the week that was in the WWE. Heck of a week. Heck of a week coming out of the Royal Rumble. Heck of a week as the first week of the road to WrestleMania. There's bumps in the road, is there not? Lots to talk about. I thought about starting this pod with, so what do you want to talk about? But I don't think people would appreciate that very much. Lots and lots and lots of stuff. Lots and lots of, quote-unquote fallout from the Rumble, etc. The first thing, and there was speculation after the release of Pat McAfee, or not Pat McAfee, Kevin Patrick, about the history or the future of commentary going forward. The first thing we saw on Raw was Michael Cole welcoming back Pat McAfee. That's why I had that flub a second ago. Michael Cole and Pat McAfee are the new Raw announce team, and people are all up in their feelings about this. I like Pat McAfee. I think it's fun. I think the fact that he doesn't come off as that professional at all kind of works in their favor. The fact that he came in not knowing stuff at the Rumble gave Michael Cole and Corey Graves an opportunity to say, let me tell you about so-and-so. I've said since the Rumble, my prime example of that is all the Jordan Grace stuff. Oh, you don't know who Jordan Grace is? Let me tell you about Jordan Grace. And it works. But I mean, Pat McAfee's fun. He's excited like a fan, not like a guy that's trying to be professional at the work desk, which is all good. And then we had to address CM Punk and the Punk injury because he's torn his tricep and whatever. He comes out to basically announce that he's all fucked up, and he congratulates Cody Rhodes on the win at the Rumble, go finish your story, etc. There's awesome footage of him backstage sort of upset and wishing Cody, well, go finish your story, etc., which takes on a whole new meaning at the end of SmackDown, but we'll get there when we get there. Comes out, talks about his injury, talks about all the sports teams that he follows, and he says, you know what, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it 100 more times, there's always next year. I told them I wanted to, tape myself up and go to Chamber and win myself a title shot that way, and the doctors say it's not in the cards, and he's interrupted by Drew McIntyre. I should say, he talks about, this is just a flesh wound. I don't want you guys to be worried about me. You should worry about the real heroes out there in the world, the police and the firemen. And he talks about his friend that's got cancer, and even when he goes for chemo, he's still in a good mood, and that's like forever inspiring, which is absolutely, first of all, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely tragic, and it's a perspective thing. Oh, the wrestler that I like got hurt. Okay, well, somebody over there that dedicated their life to fighting fires just collapsed in a fire. Let's have a little bit of perspective. I like that. And then he was confronted by Drew McIntyre, who starts off, hey, I don't really like you, you don't really like me, I've had a lot of nasty things to say about you, and I meant all of them. But, you talk about your friends, and you talk about what your friend went through, and apparently this is a reference to his mom or his stepmom, who just recently went through cancer as well. I'm not sure, I've only heard that. And he says, I was restless after I didn't win at the Royal Rumble, but I gotta say, on Sunday when I heard the news about you, I slept like a baby because I prayed for this to happen. I'm like, that's just bad. And then they get into as much of a scuffle as CM Punk could get in while he was clearly injured. He got a couple of shots in, but then Drew beat the crap out of him. And that was brought out... that brought out Sami Zayn, who pulled Drew McIntyre off of CM Punk, made sure CM Punk was okay. We went to commercial break. He demanded a match later on in the night. And there you go. We have our main event. Very, very cut and paste way for a Monday Night Raw to get to the main event, but they had to address the Punk thing. I'm sure Punk wanted to address the fans and not only pass the torch on to Cody because he's the one that's going to be, active for now while he's off doing whatever, but he wanted to, come out and do the whole, don't worry about me, I'm going to come back, I'm going to be better, etc. Now, apparently, this is 6 months. A lot of the people that are speculating online in the few articles that I've read about stuff like this, because surprise, surprise, little old me with my little old podcast, I'm not a doctor, but they're saying 6 months. I don't know how that jives with SummerSlam, but when you look at a couple of the things that are coming up soon, or the changes that are made literally this week, I can see why, if any year, it would be this year that they try to put SummerSlam on the same par as WrestleMania. Call it like the WrestleMania of the summer type of thing. Now, I do think, eventually, if they are going to go down that road and they are going to try to make you think that SummerSlam is as big as WrestleMania, I think SummerSlam will get the WrestleMania treatment and get split across 2 nights, which I wouldn't entirely mind, but that's another conversation for another day. Judgment Day, we've quickly switched over from the real life shit, which is really sad and is going to get everybody down, and people who are celebrating CM Punk's injury online are the same people that are celebrating Charlotte Flair's injury online, are the same people that were making fun of Seth Rollins for his injury online, and you're all just fucking terrible people, and you need to go out and touch grass and breathe some real air. It won't hurt, I promise. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. But we switched over to something a little more happy, a little more upbeat, and it was the Tag Team Championship match between Judgment Day and DIY. Love to see DIY slowly making their way back up to prominence. They're not where they were in NXT or with the takeover matches and whatnot, but they're getting there. And Judgment Day has all kinds of stuff going on there. The power struggle between Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, the idea of him having the briefcase, etc., etc. But also, they didn't do very well at the Royal Rumble, and Rhea Ripley sort of wound them up and said, you know, we need to see how brutal you guys are. So they won the match, and then Priest calls out R-Truth, and then they call out R-Truth, and he says, look, I like you, man, you're a good guy, you make me laugh, etc. That's why I'm not the one that's going to do this to you. And then the rest of them beat the shit out of R-Truth, and Miz makes the save. Now, what I will say is that I do think they're building up to something, either for the Elimination Chamber or for WrestleMania itself. I do think they're building up to a 4-man versus 4-man kind of match. I do think it's going to be before the Judgment Day fall apart, and I think they are going to push towards it falling apart. I think we're going to get Awesome Truth and DIY taking on all 4 members of the Judgment Day at some point on some pay-per-view, and this was not a bad way to get there. They finally severed the tie with R-Truth, even though Damian Priest was having fun with R-Truth. So I can see Judgment Day falls apart because they have this 4-on-4 match, and Judgment Day win, and the other 3 members of Judgment Day beat the shit out of R-Truth again. Damian Priest has a crisis of conscience and protects R-Truth, and he gets now seen as the weak link because he had some emotional heft to his character. He goes off to become a babyface and maybe cashes in on whoever the champion is at the time, maybe Drew McIntyre. We'll see how it goes. But it's interesting, and it didn't totally, it wasn't a squash of DIY either, so they've still got an axe to grind with the Judgment Day as well. We're trying to keep the women's tag team division alive. We're trying to keep specifically the team of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark alive. They defeated the former champs Piper Niven and Chelsea Green, who just came off a really comical entrance in the Rumble. I mean, Piper went in and did some record spots, and Chelsea kept on getting squashed in really awkward situations and pancaked into the turnbuckles, etc. But that's, I mean, the comedic role that Chelsea Green plays in the WWE is absolutely underrated. Out comes Cody Rhodes, and we think we're getting his announcement for WrestleMania. He doesn't get a chance to. He says, all right, I won the Rumble. We all know what we saw. We all know what I said on Saturday. Now let's make it official. Seth Rollins comes out, cuts him off, and they talk about the rivalry and the respect that they both have. He says that facing Roman Reigns would be a big mistake. It's the Hollywood title. It's the politics title. It's not the title that a workhorse, a blue-collar guy like you or your dad would have wanted. You should come and you should face me, and we should make this title worth something. Seth is honest with him. He says, this is not the conversation I expected to be having tonight, but I will think about it and I'll make my announcement on Friday. Now, we're going to get into what happened on Friday, but I will say Seth Rollins has a point in the sense that it has been the workhorse title. It has been the title that's been featured on more pay-per-views. Since its inception, it has been in the conversation more. It has been in jeopardy more. And I will say that putting an existing title on somebody, making somebody your champion, shows a certain amount of trust in them. Obviously, you want to make them the figurehead at that time. If you have a title that's not yet established, like the current iteration of the World Heavyweight Championship, then you need people that are going to make the belt. And that's a higher praise. We're going to have another conversation when I talk about SmackDown, but they have this new world title, and they basically did pull it up. They did have a tournament for it, but it basically came out of nowhere. And they chose Seth Rollins because who else are you going to choose to put a brand new title on their back and make it worth something? Who they choose to be the first handful of carriers of this belt is a way bigger shot in the arm, because they know that this belt has an uphill battle to not be considered the number 2 championship. So they put it on Seth first. They were going to put it on Punk next, let's be real, before he got hurt. And now potentially, if it's Cody versus Seth, not only do the two of them have history, they already have a trilogy of matches. There's a history in the sense that Cody made his re-debut against Seth Rollins before he became this champion, and carry that obviously into a better stage. That re-debut happened at WrestleMania, so you're telling a nice 2 or 3 year story there. Plus, everybody is blindly behind Cody Rhodes right now, so it would be the shot in the arm that that belt needs. It is the old wrestling cliche of, yeah, sometimes the belt makes the man, but more often than not, the man makes the belt. And the belt that needs to be made is the belt that you put on people that you want people to like. Let me put it that way. That's all I can say. I will say, as far as Cody as well, but as far as Seth Rollins, probably the best promo he's cut in a long time. I'm not nearly giving it the credit it deserves. Jey Uso defeats Bronson Reed. 4 reasons. That's all I got. I like Bronson Reed, but I want Jey Uso to be doing bigger, better stuff. In the back, we see Adam Pearce with Andrade, who's just finished signing for Raw, and they're interrupted by Nick Aldis. Nick Aldis says, hey, what the hell, you're trying to swipe up all these talents before I even get a shot. Like, I'm here as a guest tonight. I gave you Bayley tonight so that Bayley could make her announcement tonight. I thought we were having a little bit of cohesion, a little bit of like crossover working together type of thing. And he's like, well, I signed a guy. And he's got a... so Nick Aldis leaves. He gets a phone call. He says, I gotta go. It's Braun Breaker, you know, GM stuff. So a strong hint that Braun Breaker may be SmackDown bound. Gunther defeated Kofi Kingston. Because of course he did. It wasn't quite February yet. What do you want me to say? Now, Gunther's not going to get nearly the hate that Brock Lesnar got when he defeated Kofi Kingston, but I mean, these days, political outside wrestling Me Too garbage is gonna drive that decision, is it not? Imperium, when Woods came out to help Kofi Kingston after the match, beat the crap out of both of them, and it is what it is. Now, there is a development from a tag team point of view with those two teams that we'll talk to a little bit later on, because it has to do with what was announced on SmackDown. But for now, Gunther, Kofi, great match. I never want to say Kofi's a bad guy, but like every match he goes into where he's not handed a victory, people freak out like it's, you know, something. Speaking of something happened last week. Something happened the Friday before the Royal Rumble, and that's the Kabuki Warriors picking up the Women's Tag Team Championships off of Kacy Catanzaro and Katana Chance. Or sorry, I should say Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. It was awesome. It was kind of predictable. They took the titles off of one set of heels, so another set of heels could win them from a babyface team. And Chance and Carter are an awesome team. They're still incredibly underrated. Tonight they defeated Natalya and Tegan Nox, who I guess are teasing a little bit of dissension after they tried to throw each other out of the Royal Rumble. But like, Natty and Tegan are another thrown together team, so dissension in the ranks of a thrown together tag team is almost an anti-story. But it was cool to see the Kabuki Warriors on Raw, because it's, if anything else, it gave them an excuse to come out on Raw and remind everybody that once you're the tag team champions, you get to show up on both shows. Judgment Day doesn't show up on SmackDown a whole lot. They could stand to do a little bit more of that. And in the back, it was revealed Adam Pearce talking to Katana Chance and Kaden Carter about their rematch, and they're granted their rematch for next week. So Chance and Carter rematch against the Kabuki Warriors next week on Raw. But by the time we get to next week on Raw, the Kabuki Warriors warriors have a little bit more to deal with on their plate as we head towards WrestleMania season. But they're still in the ring when we come back from commercial break, and Bayley's out to make a speech. Bayley's going to complete the golden prophecy that she had set out for Damage Control. They've got the tag titles, they've got the WWE Women's Championship, and now they're going to go for the World Championship. And Ripley comes out to basically there her and pat her on the head, except she gets destroyed by Nia Jax on her way down the ramp. Everything we've done to make Rhea Ripley the awesome fucking superstar that she is being pushed to the wayside to pretend that Nia Jax is good. Anyways, so Rhea Ripley gets owned. The rest of Damage Control bail on Bayley in the ring. Nia Jax stares down Bayley. She says, "Yeah, you might want to call out Rhea Ripley, but by the time we get to WrestleMania, she's not going to be the champion because basically she says I got first." I don't know. I don't care about a Nia Jax Rhea Ripley match. I really don't care about a Nia Jax Bayley match. That match is about 5 years old, and I really don't want to even pretend that Rhea Ripley, A, going into Chamber in her home country, and B, going into WrestleMania where she deserves to be, is in any danger whatsoever from Nia Jax. We know where that's going. It's going to be Becky Lynch. She's going to win the Elimination Chamber in Australia, the home of the champion. It's going to be very poetic, and it's going to be awesome going towards WrestleMania. This Nia Jax hump that we're on, like, you could elevate, like, to be the big, you know, whatever you want to say Nia Jax is, you know, superstars come in all sizes, talent comes in all sizes, beauty comes in all sizes. Like, you have an awesome plus-size woman on your roster by the name of Piper Niven, who's actually awesome and doesn't break people. You know, Nia Jax is on that Sasha Banks vibe. You could do this with Piper Niven. If you had broken up the Chelsea Green Piper Niven tag team a little earlier, and yes, this is ifs and buts and 2020 vision in the hindsight. If you had broken up that tag team a little bit earlier, all the stuff you're trying to do with Nia Jax, all the good that you're trying to pretend that Nia Jax is, could have been given to Piper Niven, who's actually good. But be that as it may, Rhea Ripley is supposed to headline, or at least the rumors are saying she's going to headline in Australia, because of course she is. She's the biggest Australian star that there is in mainstream pro wrestling. If they're going to Australia, they're going to put Rhea Ripley in the main event. If her main event is a match against Nia Jax, fuck me. That's all I've got. And then our main event, Rhea Ripley is already disposed of. Nia Jax is in Bayley's face. Bayley says, I meant to say I'll make my decision on Friday. So we got two decisions to make on Friday when we get there. Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn was fine. It was, I shouldn't say it was fine. It was a great match, but I don't know where we're going with it. And again, when we get to SmackDown, it muddies the water even more. But Drew, Sami, David and Goliath, pissed off conspiracy theory Drew is awesome. I don't want to do that out of hand. Putting him in there with somebody like Sami does a good job of reminding you that the dude is fucking... Like, we know Drew McIntyre is a huge dude, but you need to put him in there with somebody like a Sami Zayn or a Johnny Gargano or a Finn Balor or somebody like that, just to emphasize that every now and then, because we do forget. They did a great thing here. They did a callback that nobody that I've seen has called out, is something that Tyler Breeze and Sami Zayn did ages ago on NXT, at one of the NXT shows. I don't remember which NXT show it was, but I know that I have talked about it in on my NXT Rewind series. So it's probably 2014, 2015. So yeah, like 10 years ago. Good match. Sami Zayn gets ahead of steam, goes for the haluva kick. Drew ducks in the corner, puts his hands up above his face, doesn't shoot him in the nuts, but the way you come in with one leg up for the haluva kick, Drew doesn't punch him in the nuts. Sami nuts Drew in the hand, and the same effect happens. So it is a low blow, but it's not a low blow. And then he takes advantage, quick future shock DDT, and we get the win. I don't know what this achieved, really, other than Drew was a dick to Punk at his like absolute weakest, worst moment, and Sami Zayn was one of the, I guess you could say, like, locker room consciences and said, no, we're not going to do that. Sami Zayn's also been one of the ones that's said to him about his Jey Uso problems, like, dude, get over it. Like, he's trying to be better, Punk's trying to be better, why don't you try to be better? What I do want to say about the Drew McIntyre stuff is there's a lot of room. I mean, people want Drew McIntyre to get a main event at WrestleMania now because, like, yeah, oh goody, we got rid of Punk and now let's just slot Drew in that spot, which is really, really callous and really, really cold, and you're not quite a human being if you think about things like that. But here's the thing, his deal is apparently done at the end of WrestleMania, and the last thing CM Punk said to him in the promo before they came to blows was, hey, when I come back from my injury, there's a lot of things on my list, including that World Heavyweight Championship, but the number one thing on my list is going to be you. So, is that an indicator that Drew McIntyre behind closed doors actually has re-signed his deal and will still be here when CM Punk gets back? Who knows? Punk and Drew is something I want to see. Now, the way that they're trying to do, and I'll use this as an example, the way that they're trying to pretend that Nia Jax is a stumbling block for Rhea Ripley on her way to WrestleMania, which is entirely false, entirely fake, doesn't work at all. Nia Jax can get the fuck off my TV screen. Bring back CM Punk whenever he's ready. If it's a couple weeks before SummerSlam, then awesome. Have him come back, have him declare his intentions for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam, have a roadblock the size of Drew McIntyre, a Drew McIntyre-sized Scottish roadblock on his way to SummerSlam. That's a cool story. Or the other side of that coin could be Drew McIntyre is the champion. Who knows? Could be Drew McIntyre is facing Damian Priest, who's successfully cashed in his briefcase, and he's about to get the win, and Punk shows up at the last minute, stands on the stage, distracts him, and costs him another title, and then they do a blood feud from there, and then somewhere along the way, CM Punk and Damian Priest, which is a match I wouldn't mind seeing, I'm not going to lie. Now, there's tie-in, because if he's still in the Judgment Day, who was CM Punk's first match back in the WWE at Madison Square Garden at that house show that almost doubled the attendance of an AEW pay-per-view. I mean, it was CM Punk and Dominic Mysterio, wasn't it? So there's lore there, there's LTST there. There is, as one wingnut on Wrestle Culture would say, some deft dovetailing booking. Oh yes. Switching over to SmackDown, and we tell the other half of the commentary story. And so we said Michael Cole and Pat McAfee on Raw. SmackDown has Graves and Barrett as their commentary team, which means Graves has gone from color commentary to play-by-play. And he's a character, he is. So there's a lot of, oh my god, is this going to be something that he can do? And can he sort of dial it down and be the bare-bones facts-by-facts guy? And I think he did fantastic. I'm biased because I like Corey Graves. Wade Barrett being on commentary with him is the kind of guy who he's already established as the color guy. So for him to sit there, he's not going to let Graves hang himself. He's going to help him out along the way a lot. I'm pretty sure Michael Cole, who trains and manages and arranges all the commentators, is in his ear with a bit of help as well. But I think he did a great job. For a first night out, and obviously there was a couple of things here and there where he sort of slipped back into like cocky, opinionated color commentator vernacular, but you can't exactly get rid of that. Like he's performing a new role, but he is still who he is. The amount of interactions now that he's had with Pat McAfee, if there was a small little exhibition match, because he's cleared now medically, and it's not like in NXT when he couldn't wrestle anymore. If they do a small little exhibition one of the nights of WrestleMania, sort of like to break up the more serious matches, and we get Corey Graves versus Pat McAfee for 5 minutes, I think that would be a lot of fun. I think it could be like not even a serious like feud like when Michael Cole took on Jerry the King Lawler, and that was terrible because we had Michael Cole in the orange spandex and the helmet, and we had the coal mine. Remember all that shit? I think if you keep it light and if you keep it stupid, Pat McAfee versus Corey Graves at WrestleMania could be something that they play with along the line. But Graves and Bad News Barrett on commentary was a lot of fun. We opened up the show with Logan Paul bragging about, He takes a shot at CM Punk for being hurt. He takes a shot at Seth Rollins for being hurt. He takes a shot at Kevin Owens for being hurt and having to wear the cast and whatever. And KO basically comes out, no-sells the loss. He says, yeah, I didn't win the belt, but, you know, punching you in the face with brass knucks was good enough. And he turns to the audience and he pauses, and I thought this was kind of cool, too. I don't want anybody to be mad at the ref. The ref did a hell of a job, and those guys do a heck of a job, and they never get appreciated. So shout out to the ref. He couldn't remember the ref's name, I think. But whatever the case may be, I think it's kind of cool. If you follow on social media, referee Jessica Carr had her face scanned for the new video game, and she was talking at length on X or on Instagram about how important it was for the referee team to actually be scanned in and be themselves on the video game, which is something I wouldn't have really thought of, but it's kind of cool that they've actually done that. Nice little attention to detail. You know, it doesn't affect us, and for that particular portion of the wrestling cast, I'm sure it meant the world to them, so that's really cool as well. Logan Paul says he's not going to get a rematch. Logan Paul says, I'm going to hang around on commentary while you have your match with Austin Theory. So that was nice and convenient. KO had a match with Austin Theory, which was fine. We've seen Kevin Owens in Theory quite a bit. Grayson Waller's on commentary. Grayson Waller is at ringside. Logan Paul is on commentary, putting himself over, talking about how he's desperate for a new challenger, and anybody but KO can have a shot. I'm going to have to talk to the general manager later on, blah, blah, blah. He goes to ringside, and Grayson Waller go to ringside, and there's a 3-on-1 scuffle, and KO wins with the brass knucks against Austin Theory, which is fine. We're clearly building up something here. Kevin Owens is going to grab himself 2 friends, and there's going to be a 6-man at the Elimination Chamber, is my prediction here, which is fine if you get Sami Zayn over there for a night, if you, I don't know, bring in a celebrity because it's a big international show, like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and John Cena take on Logan Paul and A-Town Down Under. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. The match was nothing to write home about, but the match was a reason for Logan Paul to get on mic and talk about himself some more and play himself up as this absolutely obnoxious, please get the belt off of him, United States champion. Now, we got back-to-back good news for SmackDown, because out of Nick Aldis's office comes Naomi with her freshly signed SmackDown contract, and Shotzi's there celebrating with her, and Bianca's there celebrating with her. By the way, it's February. And then after Naomi, out comes somebody else saying she's not the only one that just signed for SmackDown, and it's Tiffany fucking Stratton, and she belts Mia Yim, who's also there celebrating with them, in the face and leaves. So that's clearly gets set up for a match later on in the night. Now, WWE did some admin, but it's good admin. It's not, oh my god, look at these well and in-depth rankings that we have that we listen to sometimes, blah, blah, blah. Not mentioning AEW specifically or anything like that. But there's going to be a 4-way on SmackDown, there's going to be a 4-way on Raw, and then next week on SmackDown, the 2 winning teams of the 2 4-ways will be fighting each other for number 1 contendership, and those number 1 contenders will get their title shot in Australia at Elimination Chamber. This match was Pretty Deadly versus the LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, versus Bate and Dunn versus Angel and Humberto, who are the new Legado del Fantasma. Now, Legado del Fantasma had a pre-recorded thing in the back where they're in the restaurant, they're all drinking wine and they're all in suits, kind of like what original Legado del Fantasma did in NXT, except it's not Cruz and Wilde anymore, it's Angel and Humberto, and Santos talking about how they need to revive and save the, I guess, the reputation and the representation of Lucha Libre, and how you do that. You take out Rey Mysterio and his LWO, and they're there with Elektra Lopez, which is awesome. It's a nice callback, and he welcomes her back into the fold, which kind of buries Zelina Vega a little bit. So a little bit of that, you know, outside the ring, doing shit in other areas type of promos from NXT isn't too shabby, because some of those are good. Like, you see the Tony D family at the restaurant, and you see Chase U at Chase U. Nobody likes Gallus, but you see Gallus at the bar. You saw Briggs and Jensen and Fallon Henley hanging out at her family bar, etc. Like, these other atmosphere type promos are actually good. Some of them are cheesy, but it's just something a little bit different. So you had Pretty Deadly, LWO, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, which, you know, big thumbs up in my books, and you had Angel and Humberto. So, which meant you also had Elektra Lopez and Zelina Vega at ringside. Now, the other teams in this sort of mini tournament, the teams that are going to compete on Raw, are DIY, the Creed Brothers, Imperium, and the New Day, which is pretty predictable, not gonna lie. So we'll see that match next week on Raw. But anyways, the LWO do the launch thing that with Joaquin Wilde that they did on NXT that got everybody all excited a couple weeks ago. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate both do the British strong style, like the finger stuff that I like, the joint manipulation, etc. Pretty Deadly are pretty deadly, I guess. Elektra and Vega fight on the outside, and to my not that much of a surprise, Bate and Dunne got the win, which is good. Think about it. LWO are established. Pretty Deadly are established. Humberto and Angel are established. When it comes to being a team, Bate and Dunne are just recently putting that team back together, so they need something here. Now, if you want me to pull it off the top of my head, who do I think is going to win on Raw, because I don't really do previews for the weekly shows, but DIY, the Creeds, Imperium, and New Day. Imperium and New Day have their own issue, so they're going to take each other out of the equation, I think. It's going to come down to DIY and the Creeds. And I think for the throwback NXT element of it all, I think you're going to have Bate and Dunne taking on DIY in the finals. Because if you remember, not too long ago, well, it is kind of long ago now, when they decided to do the first Worlds Collide, where it was NXT versus NXT UK, one of the big marquee matches of that night, and there wasn't really a story, there wasn't really a babyface or a heel team, but it was Mustache Mountain taking on DIY, and Mustache Mountain was obviously Tyler Bate and Trent Seven. Trent Seven's not in the WWE anymore, so throw Dunne in there instead. It's absolutely fine. Trent Seven is not only signed to TNA now, good for him, but he's also still the current reigning and defending Destiny World Champion. Check it out for Spaz Phoenix bucket list. It's fine. So we're doing something with the tag division. Now do something with the women's tag division. You've got them on Kabuki Warriors, who are awesome. Start giving them some matches. Get them in the ring eventually with Shayna and Zoe, because that match will fucking wreck. And we will go from there. In the back, we see Io, Asuka, Kairi. They're all joking around, talking to each other in Japanese. Suddenly, for no reason, Io Sky switches to English and said Bayley's done tonight, and then they all have a laugh. And then they cinematically show Bayley just behind the door, and she's all very upset and very looking very upset, but also mischievous, if that makes sense. Bayley comes out to make her choice, because she won the Rumble, and she comes out, and they didn't bring out Rhea Ripley, which is what kind of sucked about this, and I'm going to say this again later on as well, because they didn't have Seth Rollins either. But they didn't have Rhea Ripley. They had Rhea Ripley standing backstage for the choice thing. Remember, because it used to be, you bring out the champion, the Royal Rumble comes out and picks their champion, etc., etc., etc. But she comes out and she brags about winning the Rumble. She sort of switches to being humble and says she couldn't have done it without her girls. If I hadn't had this support system behind me, and damage control is going to be the biggest thing in wrestling, and that's all I ever wanted when I put this group together. But then she turns to them, and I gotta give credit. Good dude, Michael Hamflett over on What Culture called this a couple weeks ago. We're going to find out that she's gradually been learning Japanese in her spare time and knows that the girls have been talking shit about her. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. She says a couple of things to them in Japanese. Obviously, I don't know what she said. That's not the point. But she didn't, lash out at them. She was, genuinely... she reverted back to old NXT sympathetic Bayley, and basically all I wanted was for all of us to get together and kick ass and succeed and all this type of stuff. And she gets in Io's face. She gets attacked by Io Sky and Asuka. They shove her down in the corner. They're giving her the boots in the corner. She's face down. Nobody's coming out to help her. Everybody, I'm sure, was thinking, oh, this is where Sasha Banks is going to come in and save her, or whatever the case may be. But she does let one hand hang off the edge of the apron behind the step where she's conveniently placed a pipe, and she takes out Asuka, she takes out Io, and there's this awesome shot you can find on WWE.com of her rearing back with the pipe as Io rears back with the belt, and it's almost like somebody drew this. Like, we wanted to draw a picture of the Io Bayley feud, and this is what came out. But yeah, and she chases Io out of the ring. She points at the WrestleMania sign with the pipe and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, if you haven't figured it out, I'll see you at WrestleMania." So Bayley versus Io Sky on one of the nights of WrestleMania. That match is gonna fucking own. I don't want Bayley to completely go back to like I know a lot of people want the old music and the inflatable arm flailing tube men or whatever. I don't want her to go back to where she was like a borderline child. Like, I still want her to have the edge that this heel run gave her, but, like, as a face. So I'm not sure what I'm asking. I'm asking for something new. And WWE's given us a lot of new recently, so I got faith in this. It's the story that we all knew was coming. It's the story that was predictable. Sometimes predictable is good. I mean, if they told other stories this well, Jey Uso would be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. But it is what it is. Lashley and the Street Profits taking on the three members of Final Testament, Akam, Razor, and Karrion Kross. The match didn't really happen. They never rang the bell. They kind of ran at each other. They brawled sort of without organization, and it got down to the tag teams being on the outside and the two main guys, Bobby Lashley and Karrion Kross, being on the inside, when Scarlett came in and jumped Bobby Lashley, and that was nullified by finally them acknowledging the inclusion of B-Fab on the Lashley and Street Profits team. She comes out in the same gear as them, other than like really, really bright red hair and shoes. She takes out Scarlett, and Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and B-Fab, whatever they're going to be called. Apparently they're going to be called the Pride, which is odd, but again, it's February. Match never got started. This is going to be a 4-on-4 intergender match at some point. Throw that on Elimination Chamber as well. Elimination Chamber matches by nature are pile of people matches, so just do an entire card that's full of pile of people matches. All the singles matches are being saved for WrestleMania anyway. But Lashley, the Street Profits, and B-Fab versus Akam, Razor, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett. I mean, it won't set the world on fire, but it might be a little bit of fun. The grungy goth kids versus, well, you know, Elimination Chamber's happening in February. That's all I can say about that. But cool. If you follow Top Dollar, or AJ Francis, I guess you could say, he's over in TNA now, but if you follow him on social media, he just supports everybody. Like, he was bigging up B-Fab after this announcement here. He was spreading all kind of praise about Corey Graves and the job that he did on commentary. He's apparently worked with Montez Ford on some music stuff. I wouldn't know. Not taking a dig at anybody, but it's not my kind of music, so I wouldn't know. But if you follow him on social media and you're tired of like all the negativity on Twitter, and trust me, we're going to talk about the negativity on Twitter, just a positive dude to follow, and it's really cool to see him sort of just raising everybody up from whatever his platform is. But it makes you think of Hit Row. Hit Row is all kinds of broken up now. I mean, Swerve got sucked up by some other company, and he's just playing a psycho now, and unfortunately he's going to have to job to a cowboy that's not that good. B-Fab is obviously joining this thing with Bobby Lashley. AJ Francis is over in TNA, and he's got issues with Joe Hendry, and I don't think he believes in Joe Hendry. And Ashante the Adonis went to Nick Aldis a couple weeks ago saying, like, look, I haven't been doing much. This is my career I'm talking about. I got to go somewhere. I got some ideas. And he sat and talked with his boss, but we haven't seen anything from that since. So the Hit Row, or sorry, should I say the former members of Hit Row are kind of an interesting, they're kind of an interesting story to follow. It's kind of like if you look back at the Shield when they were together as a unit, and then you see where they are now. Mox has clearly had his successes since leaving the WWE, but Roman is Roman, and Seth Rollins, whether he has a belt or not, is probably one of the most entertaining people in the WWE. So I'm in no way comparing Hit Row to the Shield, but it's funny to watch these groups in the context of groups that they used to be in, and see where everybody went. Anyways, in the back, once again, we have both general managers, Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce, and they're both making plays for Braun Breaker. Then Jade comes in. She wants to talk to Nick Aldis. Everybody else is asked to leave. Braun Breaker basically says, I'll be at Raw on Monday for Adam Pearce to make me his pitch to see if I sign with him. Jade comes in, and Adam Pearce gets dismissed. And they look like they're about to start talking. Jade comes in all blue. So that's about as subtle as a sledgehammer. And we move swiftly on. Tiffany Stratton has her match with Mia Yim. Clearly she wins. Tiffany Stratton's fucking awesome. If you can't get past the gimmick and realize how awesome she is, I really don't know what to tell you. She beats Mia Yim in a pretty decent back and forth match, to be completely fair. She wins with the prettiest moonsault ever, which is awesome. And she's on the main roster. Awesome. Hopefully, in the next month or so, they can find her something to do at WrestleMania. Obviously, she's not going to be in the title picture. But if you want to do the Women's Battle Royal, if you want to do like some crazy like showcase match on the either on the kickoff or on, like, what do they call it now, WrestleMania SmackDown, which is a cop-out, but it is what it is. You have to do something with that SmackDown because it's now combined with the Hall of Fame ceremony, which makes it, I'm sure the transition in the building is awkward as hell. So on the one hand, I think it's a cop-out to push people to WrestleMania SmackDown, but on the other hand, it's also kind of cool to see them trying to do something with it. So, again, it's one of those 50-50 things. Now, let's make everybody mad. Let's make everybody mad. Cody Rhodes is going to finish the story. But to all the fans on Twitter, to all the fans on X, to all the people that are Cody or nobody, it's not a story that you're writing. Roman Reigns comes out, cuts a promo, talks about the fact that Cody Rhodes is going to be out here in a second. But first of all, he wants to talk about Seth Rollins. Now, Seth Rollins is the more interesting champion now. I am a huge supporter of the heel Roman Reigns character, the Bloodline saga, everything that they've done from the minute that he gaslit Jey Uso into being his sidekick to the moment that they recruited Jimmy and Sammy, and Solo made his debut in Wales there, to Sammy breaking away and having his moment in Montreal, and Jay breaking away and moving to Monday Night Raw and having the solo career that he's trying to have now. I will stand by every single bit of the Roman title run and the Bloodline run, but I will also say, week to week, month to month, by virtue of the fact that he's the one in the buildings, he's the one entertaining the people, he's the one, having the matches and having the feuds and whatnot, the more entertaining champion is Seth Rollins. It just is. So, when he comes out there and he runs Seth Rollins thinks he's the guy. He's had the belt for a couple of months. He's already crippled by trying to carry that other show on his back. He broke his back. He broke his leg. He's not the guy. Do champions walk around like this? And he does this little gimp walk to make fun of Seth Rollins. Do champions walk around for months on end in their wives' clothes? Now, I'm sure certain sections of the population will be upset by that comment as well, but and he mentioned, he buried Rollins and the title here. He sort of said that whole tournament that took place to crown that champion was full of people that I've already beaten. You can't be the guy. I'm the guy. And Cody Rhodes, are you going to try and be the guy, or are you going to fight to be the best number 2? Out comes Cody Rhodes. He gets his whole entrance and says that he wants the conversation between them to be a private one, which is always a funny thing when you're saying it in front of 20,000 people, because WWE can actually fill arenas. But Jimmy leaves, Solo leaves, Paul Heyman kind of lingers on the apron, and they go on, and they go on, and they go on, talking about what does it actually mean. Seth gave me some things to think about on Monday. I've asked lots of people I know, lots of legends, lots of people I respect for counsel, and I started thinking about what finishing the story actually means. Now, I do want that championship. It is the title that has carried WWE. It's the title that's been handed to my father in Madison Square Garden and then taken away. It's got all the lineage and blah, blah, blah. And I do want it, and I will get it. But finishing the story means more than taking that title. It means taking everything from you. Don't get it wrong. I will hold that championship one day. It just won't be at WrestleMania. When I said I asked for counsel from one person in particular, and he knows you real well. And in my head, I went 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you smell, I'm like, yes. Yes, yes, yes. As soon as I heard The Rock's music, it took me back to that WrestleMania where Daniel Bryan got smoked by Sheamus in 18 seconds, and I got the most devious grin on my face because I know exactly the people that are shitting their pants. Oh yes. Rock came down, stared down Roman Reigns, and they basically went off the air. Rock came down, gave Cody a hug. They showed some mutual respect. He said something to him that was not caught on microphone, and Cody Rhodes eventually made his way up. So what are we left with right now? Because they flashed very quickly across the bottom of the screen that there will be a press conference held by WWE this coming Thursday to address basically everything. It's the first, it's the kickoff press conference of WrestleMania. So I'm assuming they're going to announce a lot of things, because by the time we get to next Thursday, I'm pretty sure all the title matches will be established, except for maybe the Women's World. I really do think the Women's World #1 contender will be established at the Elimination Chamber. It's going to be Becky Lynch. It's going to be Becky Lynch winning in Australia so she can go against the Australian Rockstar champion, Rhea Ripley, at WrestleMania. But I think by then we will have had it solidified. Bayley versus Io is the only match we technically have solidified for WrestleMania so far. And as we should. There's another pay-per-view in between that we have to sell as well. And it's a pretty big international show. Now, as we leave it at the end of SmackDown, it appears that Cody Rhodes has chosen Seth Rollins, and that The Rock is stepping in and facing Roman Reigns. A couple things I want to say here. People talking about, well, this means that the Royal Rumble was a waste of time. No, it doesn't. It absolutely does nothing to change the meaning of the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble used to be when you win the Royal Rumble, you face the champion at WrestleMania. For the longest time now, there's been two champions, whether it was World and WWE, whether it was WWE and Universal, whether it was, for a brief period, the WWE and the WCW and the ECW champion. But now, the Rumble is, you don't win and face the champion at WrestleMania, you win and face a champion at WrestleMania. The whole idea that Cody Rhodes makes his decision tonight is that he won the chance to make a choice. Now, if it comes out and if it gets solidified on Raw that he has chosen Seth Rollins, that does not change the meaning of the Rumble one single bit. Just like I really wanted them to confirm that Bayley was facing Io Sky at WrestleMania. But listen to me. Listen to me for a split second. Even though it doesn't make any sense, and I want to see Becky versus Rhea, if Bayley had chosen Rhea, A, it's not exactly the match I want, but it'll still be a fantastic match, and B, it doesn't change the meaning of the Royal Rumble whatsoever. Now, why are they doing this? Well, they're doing this because people are injured. They need big matches. Charlotte's out. People are celebrating because they're assholes. Punk's out. People are celebrating because they're assholes. Rollins is working hurt, and people are celebrating that because they're assholes. But yeah, Punk was going to face Seth Rollins, and nobody had a problem with that because it wasn't their guy. Briefly, it was teased that Gunther was going to face Rollins, Rock was going to face Roman, and Cody was going to face CM Punk. And I went on the record at the time. I did a news video about that, and I'm not really a news video guy, but it got me excited because here's the thing. Yeah, Roman's title. Yeah, the world title. Yeah, whatever the case may be. For a lot of reasons inside of WWE and outside of WWE, titles aside, bullshit aside, stories aside, the biggest match you could give us would be Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk. And that's fine, and everybody seemed to be okay with that option. Everybody's like, well, the only way him not facing Roman is okay is if they do that. Well, everything had to be shuffled around. Punk was supposed to face Rollins. Who's the next biggest name in the company to Punk? That's Cody. And I'm sorry, for the average viewer, for the novice, for the outsider, for the person that's not necessarily already going to watch WrestleMania, because don't pretend you're not already going to be watching WrestleMania, because you are. I'm coming around on Cody, as you guys have said, ever since he came back from WWE, when he did the little tag team run with Jey Uso, and he's been a lot of fun and whatever. I am coming around on Cody. Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns, number 2. Hand him two Rumbles in a row. Have him debut at WrestleMania was a huge thing. Have him back-to-back Rumble win. That's a big thing. Having a main event WrestleMania last year. Having a main event, that's a lot. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I can get into Cody and Roman a second time. But it would have been good. Don't get me wrong. It would have been awesome. It would have been the spectacle that WrestleMania needs to be. If you can't wrap your head around the fact that objectively The Rock versus Roman Reigns is a bigger match, I can't help you. You cannot be helped. Your blinders are on real tight, and your eyes are going to pop out the side of your head. I don't know what to tell you. If it is Roman and Rock at Mania, it's going to be fucking awesome. Hey, let me give you something. I know you're going to say, well, that would never happen because The Rock's got such a big ego. Well, first of all, fuck off. Second of all, he's putting himself in that position because he's in charge now. Uh-huh. Because those boys over on that other brand haven't given themselves all belts, have they? Oh, wait, they have. That's okay. What if The Rock and Roman is night 1? What if two guys that bust their asses like Rollins and Cody do still get that second night main event that they deserve? I'm just saying, I'm just putting it out there. Also, Becky and Rhea deserve to main event tonight. Io and Sky deserve to main event tonight. And they're gonna... The match was announced last night and it's already being lost in the shuffle. So don't act like it only ever just happens to Cody Rhodes. And please don't come at me as if WrestleMania not only has always included celebrities, but celebrities from WrestleMania 1 onward have literally been woven into the fabric of WrestleMania. This isn't new. You're only upset that this time it happened to your guy. And I get that. But please don't try to write yourself a narrative around it. That's all I'm saying. Please go touch the grass. I promise you it won't hurt. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about all this. I'm giving you this a day early because we do have Vengeance Day tomorrow, and I'll probably have a review for that up as well. So enjoy this a day early. This has been WWE Last Week. I have been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But right now,